Hello everyone, I hope you're okay. It's now the 24th of September 2024. My name is Gary Waterman. I'm a former UK police constable. What I'm going to be doing now is reading an updated summary and proposed strategy document that I've completed. This document will be able to be found in the public document file link. There's certain parts that I'm not going to say as the document states, so that there's less chance of the videos being removed. And also I'm going to try and do this in 10-minute segments, the videos, so that they can be more easily uploaded to different platforms. For example, TikTok only does 10 minutes on there. So it starts: decades-long international government fraud linked to child trafficking and sinister depopulation. This is an updated summary and proposed strategies completed by myself, former UK police constable Gary Waterman, on the 24th of September 2024. Most verifiable and corroborative evidence can be found at my Telegram channel at garythetruthsetsusfree. All of these are completely compromised, by the way, and controlled by the fraud, just to let you know. And my Rumble channel at garythetruthsetsusfree, although it appears they've now prevented me from uploading any further videos on there, which I'm going to cover later in a separate video. I've now got a new YouTube channel, which is at garytimeforfreedom. It's being suppressed. My previous YouTube channel was removed by YouTube on the 12th of July 2024. This was the same day that I'd submitted a report to Dorset Police exposing further evidence in connection to, shall we say, fluid taken from poor little ones. Okay, this report can be found in the public document file. My channels and communication is being hugely suppressed and controlled, so I rely on the masses to share this world-changing evidence, and it really is. I've then put a link to my public document file where anybody can access this and see the evidential research documents within that file, within there, an actual file within there called evidential research documents. My email address is garythetruthsetsusfree@gmail.com and garytimeforfreedom@proton.me. I have had recent information that those two emails have been blacklisted, so I don't know how effective they will be, but I have still got emails coming in. I haven't had a chance to reply, so I do apologise. I've still got a huge backlog of emails to now reply to. It's very important that you can corroborate most of the evidence shown on the Companies House register on their website. Don't just rely on what I'm telling you, okay? Go and verify it. You can verify and corroborate pretty much all of the evidence I'm showing you to see that it is true. The summary. This summary is supported by thousands of documents which will likely be made available to you, and an almost 100,000 word statement. The evidence that has been acquired shows that most of you have been deceived your entire lives, with many of you either knowingly or unknowingly having facilitated the most lucrative and sinister financial crime in the history of mankind that victimizes the most vulnerable and particularly the most innocent of all, children. Many people have been enticed to become complicit through financial or diplomatic greed, sexual immorality or addiction, giving those controlling the system the ability of coercion, blackmail or threats to prolong the fraud and suffering to the masses. Since 2022, I have managed to acquire irrefutable evidence that the system used for the governance of international nations is based on fraud and deception, and that for decades it has facilitated the exploitation, victimization and suffering of millions of people, as well as the unimaginable torture and murder of children. I am a former UK police constable of 18 years service, a Christian and a victim of this international government fraud, and I think everyone needs to understand this is very clearly a battle between good and evil now, within us all, and certainly within those that are in control of this system. I started my police career in 2000, where I worked for Kent Police before transferring to Dorset Police in 2006. Whilst there, I successfully passed 2 parts of my sergeant's exam and was able to carry out the duties of a sergeant for around 5 years of my career. Bear with me. Most of which was in frontline policing, either as a response officer or local beat officer, where I had responsibility for overseeing a particular area. This is very important. I never knowingly had any involvement with the Masonic fraternity within the police, which appears to be significantly controlling this criminal system. It appears to have infiltrated every faith, ethnic and cultural group and every area of infrastructure within society through a largely deceptive charitable money laundering front and promises to those who become members of this apparently Luciferian secret fraternity. Shortly after moving to Dorset, I bought a flat at Exbourne Manor in Bournemouth and was offered the opportunity to become a director for Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, the company that relates to it, and was formed by others in 2007, and where Swifting Corporations Limited and Jordan's Limited, who are other companies, were used to incorporate it. At this time, I presumed it was a legitimate company, as I had no reason to think otherwise, but later established that Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited was an illegal entity incorporation created through a system of government fraud. Having met my wife in 2007 and moved, having moved out, I moved back to Exbourne Manor in 2020, I believe it was. In 2021 and 2022, a £300,000, circa that amount, roof project took place on the building, but I became suspicious when I could no longer contact the managing agent over issues with the roof. Being a director for the company and having never seen them, I approached the acting chairman for Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, requesting to view the bank accounts for the company, which obviously I was entitled to do as a director. The acting chairman became evidently angry at my insistence in my request and resigned as a director for the company a few days later, which started to raise concerns about the finances of the company. I effectively became the acting chairman from that point, and I started to try and establish what had been happening with the finances of the company, presuming obviously it was something relatively small at this time. During a planned meeting with the managing agents who had been managing the accounts for the company, they refused to discuss anything with me at all and gave immediate notice to resign. As I continued to make inquiries, two other directors of Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited also resigned, causing my suspicions to grow, which encouraged me to make further inquiries. During my inquiries, I had managed to acquire 2 sets of bank documents from the managing agent, one of which appeared to be authentic, but on calculating the figures from this, they showed that over £167,000 appeared to have been omitted or not paid by others within Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited since 2015. This meant I had been defrauded, as I had paid my contributions every time requested by the managing agent and had been led to believe that others had been doing the same. Fairly and equally, of course, because we're all gaining from the advantage of the building. I reported my concerns to Action Fraud in December 2022, followed by Dorset Police shortly afterwards. Multiple other reports were made in subsequent months as things progressed. Reading on, I later established discrepancies in some large transactions within the company accounts, and that the other set of apparent Lloyds Bank documents appeared to be forged. The table of figures were misaligned, inconsistent, and not uniformed as a statement produced on a bank's software should be. The managing agent confirmed they had received these documents from Lloyds Bank, but having taken them into a Lloyds Bank branch, they did not feel that they had been produced by them. My subsequent inquiries suggested that an employee on the Treasury Department from Lloyds Bank had actually produced the documents. A complaint with Lloyds Bank has never been finalised, which was focused around a simple request to confirm if the documents had been produced by Lloyds Bank or not. Fairly early on in my reports to Dorset Police, they confirmed in writing that they had identified fraud in my reports, but later went on to refuse to confirm this again, and evidence showed that they had shared sensitive information that only they knew with people who I had already named in writing as prime suspects. I'd named them as suspects after I established that their friend had been the accountant using the forged bank documents for years to file accounts, and me having retained written correspondence with that accountant. What I'm going to do is stop now and move on to part 2.